There's this really unique problem when it comes to mental health marketing.
Oh, definitely.
You have this incredibly high urgency from the person searching, but historically, the algorithm, yeah, it just didn't get it.
It just favored keyword stuffing,
Hmm.
not clinical accuracy. And when someone's in a crisis, the last thing they have time for is wading through SEO spam. They just need help.
Exactly. And that's the tension we're digging into today. We've been looking at materials on a company called Samiak Online.
Right? They're a digital marketing agency that specializes in exactly this, bridging that gap for mental health professionals.
And the stakes here are just, they're so high. There was a phrase in the source material that really landed with me. It said, people are searching quietly and urgently.
Yeah.
And if a therapist or a clinic doesn't show up in that very specific moment for that person, they might as well not exist.
It's a missed connection with, huge real-world consequences.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about Samyak isn't just that they do SEO, it's how they're doing it. They're adapting to this big AI shift.
Okay, so they're moving beyond just finding the right keywords.
Way beyond. They're focusing on what our sources call LLM optimization, large language model optimization.
Which is a whole different ballgame. We're not just talking about matching text strings anymore.
No.
This is about vector space and structuring content so that an AI, like a GPT model, understands the tone. It can actually recognize empathy.
Precisely. The sources kept coming back to this idea that LLMs prioritize intent. Someone types depression symptoms. The old Google looks for a page with that phrase on it a bunch of times.
Just a checklist.
Right. But an LLM looks for an answer that sounds authoritative, but also compassionate. So Samyak is basically building sites to signal empathy to the machine.
So this sounds a lot like what we call entity-based SEO, right? Where you're defining things for the search engine.
That's it, exactly. It's about getting rid of the ambiguity. You're using structured data to tag the site so the engine understands, hey, this isn't just a blog post about anxiety. This is a licensed psychologist who treats anxiety, and they are located in Bangalore. It validates the credentials right there in the code.
But that's where it gets complicated, doesn't it? As soon as you start building that entity trust, you're dealing with patient data. You're feeding an algorithm-sensitive info. How do they handle the compliance side of that? APA, GDPR, all of it.
That is the friction point. And Samyak seems to use their experience, the sources say they have over 20 years in this, as a kind of shield. They frame privacy compliance not just as a legal thing you have to do.
That is a trust signal itself.
Exactly. Proving you handle data ethically actually becomes part of your authority score. It helps you rank. And it's absolutely critical for local SEO for getting into those Google map packs.
Speaking of the technical side, that case study on Shami Nakyag was pretty telling.
It was.
It wasn't like they just waved an AI wand and fixed his website. It sounded like they were digging him out of some serious technical debt.
Oh, completely. He had an old Joomla site, which, can be notoriously heavy. The source describes the work as long and tedious. They didn't just tweak the copy.
They had to rebuild the whole thing.
Basically, yeah. They had to overhaul the architecture, optimize the core web vitals, get that page load speed down.
And for a user in crisis, that load time isn't just a number on a report, right? It's the difference between staying to get help or just bouncing.
And the result was turning all his site performance scores to green. Nakak even said he usually avoids offshore teams, but the technical skill there really changed his mind. It just proves that the entire AI strategy is useless if the foundation is broken.
So what we're really seeing is a shift. The digital footprint, a clinic's website, is becoming the first step of the healing journey, the first point of triage.
That's the big takeaway. In this new landscape, being visible is a form of care. But it all leads to a much bigger question.
Which is?
Well, as search engines become answer engines, giving direct advice instead of just a list of links, the algorithm itself is becoming the triage nurse.
And there's the danger zone. Because if Google is the new triage nurse, you have to ask, who's writing the triage protocols? Is it a clinician? Or is it an SEO specialist trying to optimize for a click?
That's the question we all need to be asking.
Something to think about. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.